Hi, in today's demo I'm going to talk about Mermaid Diagram and native support for generating Mermaid flowchart diagram text from within OpenRose. If I go to settings, then we can see here that the version of OpenRose I have installed on my computer is 020161. That's the latest version, which you can go and get it from github.com/openrose. If we look at the releases, we have 6 releases so far, and the latest version, which is 020161, and the one I have installed on my computer, allows us to generate Mermaid flowchart diagram text. And you can scope your data by 6 different types, whether it is the entire project or an item type or an item and so forth. So let me just go into OpenRose and show you generating a mermaid diagram for a project. That's our first initial starting view, that if I have a charity fundraising project in this example, then I'm going to copy the ID of my project, go and click on export mermaid diagram. I'm just going to do control click so that it opens in a new browser. I'll just paste the ID of my project that I've just copied, and voila, we have the mermaid text generated here for us for the entire project. Let me copy this text. Let's go to diagramming tool. I have a blank page here. So let's go and insert the diagram with the text that we have just copied, and we now should be able to see the complete project structure for my charity fundraising, including any traceability it contains in them. So the solid line here indicates the parent and child relationship, while the dotted line here indicates the traceability. So in one shot, so quickly, we could generate the entire project. Let me delete this page and let's go to this simple diagram that I've drawn to explain why we allowed scoping for generating mermaid diagrams. Let's say if you have a project like this is a very simple example, but generally you will have a lot more complex project. But in this example, let's say if you generated a diagram for your entire project, then you can share this and work with this with your project team members, your stakeholders, your customers, your partners, or whomsoever with whom you need to work and discuss about the structure of your project and what is included, what are the relationships of your requirements, and how it does the coverage of your entire project needs. Now you could decide to discuss only about a specific section, which is nothing but a particular requirement type. And if you just want to concentrate on a particular requirement type, then obviously you can do that by exporting just that specific type. The second part is if you have a very large requirement structure and you want to talk about a specific requirement and its sub-requirements only, that's why you want to export a requirement-based breakdown structure out in a flowchart. The other option is to take a snapshot. So we take the page here. Let's select everything, copy everything, and create a new page. Let's paste it here. So I have these second set of diagram on a second page. And in terms of scoping, let's say if we decide to remove item 4, so we delete that after taking the baseline, after taking the snapshot, then we are left with these 5 requirements, but no trace was lost in that particular scenario. So we only removed from our scope one requirement which was kind of isolated. Perhaps it was a heavy requirement. Let's bring it back to the snapshot, and let's say that this time we removed this particular requirement, which is requirement number 6. So if I remove requirement 6, then I'm also removing the parent-child relationship as well as the traceability. So we are now left with this view. So imagine that we have this simple project, but we can very easily take a snapshot and remove certain requirements which are not in scope for a given target release. The next thing that we will do is let's bring those items back, and let's say that we want to remove item 3, which is the item type. So all the requirements under that item type is removed. So we delete that out. So the parent and child relationship goes, the structure where project is linked to the item type goes, the traceability goes, and so we are now left with this structure. So that's nothing but the data that we can actually scope in and out. So we take a snapshot and we work with that data. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate further while generating the flowcharts. Let's go back to OpenRose, and to show that, I think it's much easier to show that in deep hierarchy level project. Let me expand this project here, and we can see it has a beautiful hierarchy structure. You have hierarchy going up to level 9. Here on the top we have the top record, which is linked to a record at the bottom. So if I just go to a child trace, which is at the bottom, so we can see right here that there is this relationship, which is the traceability relationship. So what I'm going to now do is take this project and take the ID of the project and show you how we can generate from the same single view the output for the entire project. So here is the ID for the deep hierarchy level, and we have the complete structure here. We can simply go into our diagramming tool here, and let's just go to insert the Mermaid diagram, which is a flowchart diagram. And here we go. We have the full structure available for that entire project. And as you know, we have the relationship, which is the traceability relationship between top and bottom, and you can see that dotted line indicating that relationship. By the way, what I can do is we also include in our export the link back to our project. So I can just simply look at the top item or a project item, and whenever you click on these objects, then you see this nice little link here. Because I generated this report or output from my localhost instance of OpenRose, it takes me back to that instance. If you have hosted OpenRose in a custom domain or in an IIS server, that will basically take you back to that location. So let me just click on this link here, and it opens it up in a new browser. And here we are. This is my project, deep hierarchy level project, but it basically opens it up in detail view. If I want to see this data in the tree view, then obviously I can click on tree view here and then expand the tree to see all the data. So I have ability here to go back. This is basically a go-to link which takes me back to that record, and it will work for any of the item. So with that, let me delete all this data which we just exported. Now let's do a scope based export, right? So I just want to talk about item type 1. I don't want to go and talk about anything else. With my supplier, for example, who is a component supplier, and let's say item type 1 is a specific component. I'm just going to take the ID of item type 1, go into Mermaid screen where I'm generating the output for item type 1. As you can see here, the first line is indicating item type 1 output. Let me copy it over, go to my blind diagram, which is here. Let me just bring it to center and go insert the Mermaid diagram, which is only for that specific item type. So in this case, item type becomes the main object around which all the other objects are drawn. And as you can see, we only see this select item or single item 1 at top, but we don't see any bottom item. Why? Because bottom item is in a separate item type, but we are just scoping our data to be exported by a specific item type only. So with that, let's go back into OpenRose, and this time let's just go quite deep in our hierarchy. So we go 1 1 1 1 as our item. We pick up the ID of that. We go and generate the Mermaid chart for that. I'll copy the text, go in here, arrange, and then insert the mermaid diagram, only scoping to that specific requirement and its structure. Now this would be very useful if I'm going in a meeting where I just need to discuss about a specific scoped item, right? I don't need to generate a very large diagram. I don't want to discuss about all the other complexity. I just want to focus on a specific set of data. And if that requirements breakdown structure contains any traceability, then I just want to discuss and have a focused discussion about a specific part of my project. This could be quite useful for few of our users. The next thing we're going to talk about is a baseline. Let's just check if we already have a baseline. We don't have any baseline right now. So let's go and create the baseline by the entire project. So when I create the baseline, I'm just going to call it as baseline 1 for the demo purpose. This is for the whole project. Once the baseline is created, so let me expand the baseline 1, and here we go. We have the top record here, and if I look at the traceability, then I should be able to see the trace link going down to the bottom record within that baseline, and here we have that traced item. So this is exactly like project. We're just taking the snapshot, right? So we take the snapshot ID, which is the baseline ID, go into Mermaid. Let me go into Mermaid generation, paste the ID, and we generate the baseline 1 mermaid diagram, right? And now here we go. We just paste it. Oh, not like that, obviously. We need to go into this way and then paste the diagram. And here we are. We can see exactly how we saw the project data. We also have the traceability going from the top to bottom. And this is actually taking me back to the baseline. So I can literally just go and say, take me back to the baseline. And here we are in baseline 1, and we can see the data in the details view. So that's how we can create the entire baseline output. Now let's consider, why do we create the baseline? So baselines are created so that we can decide upon the scope of our data, which means I should be able to go into a particular record and I should be able to say that let's scope it out. We are not going to do this. So instead of just these level 9, let me just go up to level 5 in this case, 1.1. When I remove 1.1, then I'm removing quite a lot of data, right? And if there are any traceability around this, then we should be able to see that those traceabilities are also getting removed. To actually show that, let me just also go into the bottom record and remove the bottom record. So we did some negotiation with our customers or with our internal team, and we came up with these structure whereby we are removing quite a lot of amount of data from the baseline 1 that we have taken the snapshot for. So now if I go back, pick up the ID of the baseline and put it here, I can now say that do not generate the entire baseline structure in the mermaid diagram. Only do it for items which are included. So baseline items which are excluded, the one which are marked with X in front of them, should not be in my diagram. I just want to show the diagram containing included data or in scope data. So if I say export my mermaid diagram, this will be a smaller set of data which we are now going to draw down here in diagramming tool. So let's just paste it and voila, it's the same data but scoped down to whatever is our final negotiation outcome. So we can see here that we have single item 1 at top, but we don't have single item 1 at the bottom because that's out of scope. So we can decide what data we want to include. Now assume that we have to only discuss about certain part of the project with our internal team. We don't want to discuss the whole baseline. So in that case, let's just delete everything here, go back, and let's say we want to only discuss about item 1. Now item 1 do not have any other child items apart from 1.2. Everything else is removed. So I'm just going to show you that if I take the ID of my baseline item 1, go over here and generate the mermaid diagram, then it only includes that item 1 as my root and item 1.1 as the child. Everything else is excluded, as we can see. But if I say show me everything, then here we go, we should be able to see the whole structure. So you have a little bit of control about filtering your data based on the baseline, the snapshot that you have taken. And obviously when I take this into Mermaid, it will draw a beautiful diagram for me based on the output that we see here. So I'm not just going to go there right now. That's how we can define the baselining, the baseline inclusion and exclusion of data, the traceability and the links between the data, and then based on that selection, we can generate beautiful mermaid diagrams. So with that, I really would like to thank you for your time and to watch this video, to learn from it, and hopefully use OpenRose in your projects, whether it's a personal project or a team project or an organizational project or a government project or educational project. We hope that you would utilize the capabilities of OpenRose to be able to do it right and reduce your waste. Thanks again and have a great day.